What would happen if Muzan were reborn with his memories? How would the King of Demons use his knowledge of the future to achieve immunity to the sun and correct each of his past mistakes? Would humanity have any chance if the Kamado family and the entire organization were wiped out before the story even began? Look, when Muzan Kibutsuji opens his eyes for the first time in the Heian era, he doesn't feel absolute control over his own body. He can barely speak. Muzan was trapped in his fragile newborn body, but with every memory intact. The smell of his body burning under the sunlight, the sharp blow of Yorichi's crimson blade, Tamayo's betrayal, and the humiliation of his final fall, turning into nothing but dust. Muzan has the opportunity to restart his journey. Then, from the very first moment, he already starts recalculating his path to get his revenge against all those who caused his downfall. He realizes that his existence has given him the greatest possible advantage: absolute knowledge of the future. Muzan remembers the exact composition of the experimental medicine that ruined his human life. And more importantly, he recognizes the critical flaw that turned him into a monster vulnerable to sunlight: his own impulsive impatience. Over the months, Muzan hides his intellect behind the facade of a sick child, meticulously studying every herb, formula, and diagnosis brought by the family doctor. This time, Muzan doesn't have an outburst of anger or impatience like in the original timeline, attacking the doctor before he even finished the medicine that would make him immortal. Here, Muzan waits for the doctor to finish preparing the medicine containing the blue spider lily. The substance merges perfectly with its genetic structure. For months, Muzan is treated with the medicine in its complete form, not like in the original timeline. When the transformation is complete, his pulse stabilizes, his skin reflects direct sunlight without suffering a single burn, and his cellular regeneration. It starts operating at a microscopic level. Muzan returned to his Oni form, and more importantly, as the perfect Oni he had always dreamed of being. To guarantee the absolute exclusivity of this secret, Muzan silently moves down and severs the doctor's neck, absorbing his biological memories and erasing the formula from the mortal world forever. Remember, Muzan was born noble. With that, he has the widest access he could get by operating as a high-ranking noble during the day and as an Oni at night, satisfying his desires and building his loyal army of Onis. Over the years, Muzan builds an untouchable dynasty. He marries into an aristocratic family and has 3 human children. To whom he meticulously transfers his sun-adapted Oni anomaly. Muzan continued hunting humans to satisfy his Oni desires. Thus, soon, rumors would begin to spread about monsters, or rather, Onis, eating humans, and an unrelenting hunt to track them down would take place. But, centuries before the Demon Slayer Corps organized the relevant combat structure, Muzan found Tamayo. Instead of turning her into an uncontrollable Oni who massacres her own family, he approaches her as a benevolent lord, offering a cure for a terminal illness. By administering a diluted dose of his sun-immune blood while preserving her sanity, Tamayo becomes his completely loyal chief scientist, preventing, at the root, the future creation of the 4-stage cellular degradation poison. Years go by, and when we reach the Sengoku era, Muzan relentlessly hunts for the whereabouts of Ritsugikune's siblings, aiming to eliminate Yorite as a child. Soon, when Muzan's informants detect the location of the Tsugikune twins, years had already passed since their birth. Muzan then quickly recalculates his route. Aware of the devastating danger of sun-breathing, Muzan refuses to repeat the mistake of a direct confrontation. He avoids Yorite completely. Instead, Muzan intercepts Michikatsu Sugikune early, exploiting his obsessive envy and the terror of the curse of the Demon Slayer mark. Muzan grants Michikatsu his enhanced solar blood. Michikatsu accepts the transformation, giving rise to Kokushibo years earlier than expected, a warrior who combines moon breathing with a body immune to the sun and instant regeneration. Kokushibo is immediately sent to hunt down the first breathing users, to identify the first breathing users trained by Yorit, cutting off the transmission of the techniques before they can become established as an organized tradition. Yorite spends the rest of his days wandering in isolation, dying of old age, without leaving a direct heir to possess the sun-breathing technique. With the threat of Yorite neutralized, Muzan indirectly consolidates his elite guard. He intercepts Sakudi right after the dojo tragedy, turning him into Akaza and forcing mastery of the transparent world, hundreds of years before the Taisho era. Next, Duma, Entengo, and Gyoku are selected and strengthened with enhanced blood, forming the upper moons, and this time even stronger, because Muzan instructs them about their weaknesses. Muzan only allows the existence of weak and scattered demons on the outskirts, keeping the Demon Slayer core fed by a false sense of control, while his true empire rules in broad daylight. And if you're enjoying seeing Muzan play with the script under the radar, use your powerful subscriber technique by hitting the like button down below. And if you don't have your subscriber power yet, just subscribe to the channel with the notification bell on. Take this moment to leave your hype in the comments. Just swipe the comment section to the side, tap hype, and that's it. That way, you help strengthen our empire here on YouTube as well. And notice that Muzan's plan was just beginning. Generations go by until we reach the Taisho era. Even though Kokushibo hunted every hunter trained by Yorichi to kill them, Muzan knows about Yorichi's abilities. Kokushibo could easily be noticed by Yorichi if he got too close to the legendary hunter. So, hunters who learned Inokami Kagura dance could still exist. Muzan takes every precaution in the world to locate the Kamado family, and finds out that yes, Tanjiro still exists despite his efforts. Just like his father Tanjiro, the one who inherited the Inokami Kagura dance. Muzan waits for Tanjiro, Tanjiro's father, to die. And when the winter sun lights up the mountain snow, Tanjiro prepares his basket of charcoal to go down to the village, marking the starting point of the story. However, in this timeline, there is no disorganized knife attack. Muzan's demons spent years watching the Kamado family, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike. Meanwhile, they passed all the information to Muzan. The king of demons monitored Tanjiro's every move daily, the one who caused his downfall. There was no indication that at this point, Tanjiro knew how to use Inokami Kagura, much less how to handle a sword. When Tanjiro returns the next morning, he finds his entire family dead. And this time, Muzan was standing there, smiling and staring at him. Tanjiro was in a panic, and Muzan was savoring every second. After delivering his villain monologue, telling all the suffering and humiliation that Tanjiro made him go through in his past life, Muzan kills him slowly, boasting that the world will be in his hands. Notice that Muzan orchestrated everything. After massacring his entire family, he divorced them, leaving no trace of Yorichi's bloodline. The sun-breathing technique was lost forever. When Gyu Tomioka finally arrives, he's intercepted by Akaza, who had already mastered the transparent world for centuries. Gyu has his Nichirin blade broken before he can complete the first form of water breathing, getting stabbed in the chest and killed, without being able to send a warning to the corpse. Muzan knows exactly where the Demon Slayer core is located, so destroying it will end everything. But this time, he doesn't want to risk being caught off guard by any traps set by Kagaya Ubuyashiki, the master of the Demon Slayers. First, as a true strategist, he seeks to eliminate the strongest forces of the corps, the pillars, those who gave him so much trouble in the final battle. With Gyu's death covered up and classified as a disappearance during a mission, the timeline moves forward to the Mugen Train arc. Here, Rengoku investigates the disappearances caused by Eno, not knowing that the sleep demon is just a tactical decoy for Akaza's arrival. Calling on his friends to help him, Kyojuro splits his attention between the two, saving the civilians and direct combat. Unfortunately, people die here, and Rengoku defeats Eno, but he is left exhausted. Then, Akaza appears as usual. And as we know, Rengoku meets his end right there. In the entertainment district, when Tengen Tenguizu investigates the disappearance of his wives alongside Zenitsu and Inosuke, Muzan sends Doma to fight alongside Daki and Gyutaro. And as we know, if just the only siblings were already a handful, imagine with Doma here and Tanjiro present alongside the Demon Slayers. Well, the end is inevitable for our heroes here. Without the need to act in the shadows, in broad daylight, Muzan orders an attack on the Swordsmith's village. This time, not sending just Gyoku and Antengu, but Kokushibo, or Upper Moon 1, to ensure the complete destruction of the village. Muichiro and Mitsuri barely stood a chance, even with the Demon Slayer mark. Imagine without it, and facing an additional and potential threat like Kokushibo, without the help of Tanjiro and Nezuko. There are no chances here. The Ashiras are eliminated, just like the Swordsmiths, and all Nichiren blade production is eradicated forever. With the weapon supplies destroyed and the squad disarmed, Muzan marches directly to the Ubuyashiki mansion, under the midday sunlight. Kagaya Ubuyashiki witnesses his arch-enemy walking freely during the day. For the first time in a millennium, Kagaya tries to blow himself up, just like he did before. However, Muzan was prepared, and with the sound of Nakimi's biwa, he escaped the explosion unharmed. Returning to the site of the explosion, the remaining Ashera, Gyomei Imejima, Sanemi Shinazugawa, Obanai Iguro, and Shinobu Kocho, surround Muzan and launch their attack. They are the last desperate line of defense. Without the weakening effect of Itamai's poison, Muzan can fight calmly and at his full capacity. He dismembers Sanemi and Obanai with his flesh whips in a matter of seconds. Gyomei is left for last, to Muzan's delight. The King of Demons exterminates the Ubuyashiki lineage and ends 1,000 years of resistance from the Demon Slayers. Finally, Muzan had his long-awaited revenge. His low revenge, but one that was fulfilled. Centuries pass, and the history of the planet is rewritten. Muzan's empire expands beyond Japan, reaching Europe, the Americas, and Africa. Humanity begins to worship him as an immortal god who walks openly under the light of day. Entire cities are built according to his design, and his biological law is untouchable. At the top of his palace, sitting on his throne, Muzan contemplates the sunrise of a new era. The same sun that once represented his greatest fear now bathes his skin with harmless warmth. However, at the height of his conquest, the King of Demons feels a disturbing silence. There are no more enemies to overcome or blades to fear. For a brief moment, the memory of a red-haired boy carrying an axe in the snow crosses his mind. Remembering the only moment when he felt the true spark of human determination. That spark is quickly smothered by his immortal coldness. For regret belongs to the weak, and Muzan became the absolute master of eternity. Our heroes did not have a happy ending in this story. But don't forget to hype up the video, like it, and leave your next video suggestion in the comments. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the upcoming videos. I'm counting on your support, Otaku, and I'll see you in this video that's showing up on your screen right now. See you there!